All right, everybody, we have a saying at General Mills, short sleeves, short career. But I said, hey, I'm going to San Diego. We only have a couple days left of summer in Minnesota. I'm going to celebrate. So hopefully this will not be my jump the shark moment in front of you today. I'm going to spend 2 minutes talking about the background. How did we get to this project? It's one of these wonderful small little projects. There's no big theory around this, but we've learned a lot from a small little project. Alison's going to talk to you about what we actually did. So what is this story of online video that we're going to tell? And then I'll wrap up with a little bit on the results. We've learned a ton from it. And we will keep to our 10 minutes, all right? This project came from a couple of places. One, this goes back probably 4 years. Is that what we're talking about? 4 years ago. And it was that whole world of viral video. Everybody's got to do a viral video, right? So our internal people were all enamored with the fact that we could shoot videos for $30,000 or something. The agencies are all excited because it's a whole new creative world. And all creative people are excited because, yes, we can do more than we have this whole new tool called the internet, and we can do things differently. But the problem, as we all know with viral video, is like, okay, so first of all, General Mills isn't really that funny, right? So our sense of humor, Jerry Graff would send me the doghouse video for JCPenney like every day and say, we can do this. We can do this for you, man. Come on, let us do a doghouse for you. Well, by the time General Mills gets its hands on it, it's just not going to be all that funny, right? You guys know our sense of humor. If we played the reel, it's that CPG advertising sense of humor. So that's one problem. The second problem is that viral video often doesn't really scale to much. So it's nice. You still have to put the resources into it, right? You have to take an assistant marketing manager, and they have to dedicate some time from their day off of some other project to do it. It's not like we were bringing in more people to do it. So we were working on these projects. They were taking up time. Maybe they cost less than production costs, but you still have to do viral videos, and they were getting 20 views or they were getting 10,000 views. But really, if you're trying to get 2 million more households to try Hamburger Helper this year, or a couple million more households to try Nature Valley, it wasn't amounting to enough. And so here we are today talking about scale in video. Then along comes Alison, and we had a long partnership. So we're tag teaming partly because so much of what we need to do in this room is it's back to that collaboration theme that we've heard, right? We've got to find a way to collaborate in new ways. And these guys have done great work with us on the Save Lids to Save Lives program for Yoplait for years. So there's a lot of trust. And it's just started with Alice and I sitting down in a room for an hour and just talking about these problems, right? Viral video doesn't necessarily scale. We were seeing at the same time, we were seeing tremendous amount of results on our owned assets. So our owned assets, our core sites, because we're lucky enough to be in the food business and 30% of all internet activity in any one month is going to some kind of a food-related site, we have generated a tremendous amount of scale online through our own properties. But it all came from a completely different way of thinking than the interruption model. So what I loved about the setup both from Jeff and from Carol is, even though we didn't plan this at all, that whole idea of let's get out of the interruption business, that whole idea of magnetic content, and that whole idea of tradigital, that's absolutely where this sat down, where we sat down and we talked about what we needed to do. So the core issue, the core success model in our owned assets is to provide a service to people. It's not to interrupt people. It's to help people get something done. It's to remove the friction from people's lives. It's what Steve Jobs has been so good at for so long, which is just to take friction out of people's lives and make it easier to do something cool, to meet a need, to fulfill a desire, to inspire somebody with something imaginative. And so with that, I want to play a little, this is just a sizzle reel. These videos, we created a gallery, if you will, for Betty Crocker cake mix. We weren't even advertising anymore because we couldn't get an ROI. We just trade it a lot. But we said, there's certainly a lot of people out in the world who are probably searching for birthday party related stuff. Let's go to the search, let's go to the need, let's go to the behavior, and let's create a gallery of videos around how to make really cool birthday cakes for your kids. And so that's what we did. I'm going to show you a little sizzle reel right now. It probably runs a minute and a half or so. And this will just give you a teaser, and then Alison will go into more detail.
Hi, I'm Lori Gelman for Howdini.com.
Hi, I'm Lori Gelman for Howdini.com.
Hi, I'm Lieve Hansen for the Betty Crocker Kitchens. I'm Lieve Hansen here at the Betty Crocker Kitchens.
Hansen is here to help us turn gluten-free baking into extra special baking. All right, let's hop to it.
The first thing we're going to do is pour our cookie mix into the bowl. I'm going to load the spatula, which means the frosting goes from the top edge to the bottom edge. Now it's time to decorate it with candy. And you can use little peanut butter cups or whatever candies you like. And now you have your rubber ducky.
And you know there's lots more great birthday cake ideas from the cake experts at the Betty Crocker Kitchens right here on Howdini.com. I'm Lori Gelman for Howdini. So allow me to show you what was done and how it was done and what the results were. At the time, I was starting a business, a second business, a digital business, and Doug was the first customer for that business. So we're actually a couple of years into the case study and can give you some really good detail on it. We aimed for 3 things, and those 3 things came out of talking to customers. You know, what were the metrics that they wanted in a digital program that could scale? Generally speaking, reach, engagement, and conversion. And it was reach and engagement that were most important to Betty Crocker. So let's see what we do here. So you can see from the chart that this program has actually been in the market 3 years, and the first year of it, with Doug as our test customer, we actually didn't have our distribution network built yet. So here we are trying to create a new form of brand communication where brands are in the content, not around the content. But we didn't have the distribution network yet to build it. After a year, we did, and now this is a campaign that has generated, as you can well see, more than 70 million views of the video, and that's digital at scale. So the question becomes really, you know, how did we do that? And I'll talk about that in just a second. These 70 million views, I think you learned earlier today, it's really hard to do that. You know, Roller Babies, 33 million views, a good number of them bought. This is earned media. This is the kind that we place and we market, center of the page, above the fold, and look, ma, no hands, no auto roll. So it's a little bit more difficult to achieve something like that. And brands who have tried, and Doug alluded to this, who have tried video know what the statistic is, which is that only 1 out of every 500 videos that a brand makes ever gets more than 500,000 views. So if you think about that, viral video is really lightning in a bottle. And Jeff talked about, well, how do you do it another way? How do you create magnetic content that people are already searching for, something that you can do as a service? And that's very much what this case study is. So let's talk about engagement a little bit. You can see an engagement score on that slide of 78. It actually represents overall engagement for this campaign. And what does 78 mean in terms of this metric? It means that the average person watches about 78% of the video. So what that says to me is that when somebody wants to learn about a topic and they find a video on that topic, they stick with it, and that's critical. And these videos are 3 to 8 minutes long, so that's a lot of good engagement with a brand. So the question becomes, how did we do that? How did we achieve those results? And the answer is there were 3 keys to success. And the first one is really big distribution. We created that brand name that you saw called Howdini. And the reason we did it was so that we could talk to publishers about, you know what, we're going to give you good content. It's going to be well lit. The talent is going to be national. We're going to test that talent and make sure that it's compelling. Everything will be researched well. This is a fraction of the network. But we're going to limit brands to being 30% of all the videos that we put out, and we're going to fight for those brands. We're going to fight for their right to be in content and to act like publishers, that we shouldn't have to pay for that space, and that brands deserve to be middle of the page, center of the page. So that's what we did. And at the end of the day, you know, how does it look when it comes out? It looks like that, where other folks are advertising around, but the brand is in the middle. They're on Hulu and on all kinds of small sites. So this particular campaign is now on more than 1,500 URLs. The network itself is now top 20 in ComScore. Interesting that it's ranked against other folks who are distributing, you know, kind of in the fringes. And this is a bit different. We call it editorial distribution and using branded information instead of branded entertainment to create that kind of magnetic pull. So the second secret is search. And that was, I got to give Doug credit because he created the idea for a product that we now have called Search Revelator. He basically said, Alison, how am I going to know whether people want to like make muffins or pies or cakes? I'm sure you remember that. And we said, wow, you know, he's right. Keyword research won't get us far enough. So how can we look at this to be able to predict, first of all, that it's really got to be about the cake. And then second of all, that, you know, princess cake and castle cake, that's going to do it the best. And there are going to be some outliers that maybe no one will expect. Here we have butterfly cake, for example. And this is what happens when you hardwire content for success in search, and then you distribute it to high credibility sites around the web, and then you optimize it. You end up with this effect where who else has an answer on how to make a butterfly cake? Nobody else. It's got to be Betty Crocker. It practically looks like a Google endorsement. And everybody in this room knows that YouTube is #2 search engine now. So we actually had to create software to make this happen. But here you have a much broader search, which is birthday cakes. And I forget on the day we pulled that how many birthday cake videos there were. Maybe that says 32,000 or something. And yet Betty Crocker will be something like 12 of the top 15. And that's really important because lots of sites, including good sites, are shopping for content on YouTube. Here's the Smithsonian who says, we're all about dinosaurs. Wonder what YouTube has for dinosaurs. They put it in, and out comes a new distribution for Betty on top of what we've already done. So the third success, and finally, is about evergreen content and really good content that the brand takes the time to think about a little bit differently. So it's not about features and benefits so much. It's just about good old information. So at the end of the day, you know, it's tradigital, and the strategery is good for reach and engagement and conversion. And that's why we think it works. But I want to have Doug tell you why he thinks it works.
Yeah, and really the key to us, and I know that it worked because the same team that did that content gallery is now doing 3 more. So that's how, you know, success usually breeds success. If this didn't work, if 70 million views didn't really amount to much in terms of moving more boxes of cake mix, then we wouldn't be doing them for some other key brands of ours. So without going into the ROI and whatnot, just know it definitely worked, and we're going to do more. I think what's also important is this just teaches our group how to market in this new age, right? This is content. It will find its way into all kinds of different places. We're living in a thumbnail world, and it's really important as a marketer to figure out how am I going to play in a thumbnail world where I'm really providing a service to people versus having to constantly interrupt people and get them distracting them into looking at something much different than that. So anyways, with that,
awesome.
I think we're out of time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.